Excellency Governor, the technocrat in power, His Excellency Mr. Okomu Obaseki, and His favorable particular deputy, His Excellency Right Honorable Philip Shaibu. Your Excellencies, welcome, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
But Your Excellency, I'm going to say to you that, Edo State is a flagship state for ideas. Whatever we have done so far in Nigeria starts from Edo State. And this is the first time we're having this program in Nigeria. And the report of this is going to Poland. As a matter of fact, the head of Chancery of the Dutch Embassy should have been here, but we couldn't get the date to coincide with your own date. He was on leave. So just be assured that this is already reaching Poland. I can tell you that. Your Excellency, let me just give you a quick overview of this NISCOPS program, and also to let you know why we are all here. One, this is a common knowledge. I don't have to waste time on this. Why are we here talking about oil palm in Nigeria and in Edo State? It has to do with productivity, it has to do with processing challenges, it has to do with market challenges. Now, we have three approaches the way we are approaching our work. One is, how can we strengthen the governance structure? And then two, how can we improve the business practice of smallholder farmers? And three, how can we improve the yield, the field level sustainability? And from there, we have three key performance indicators. One is increasing productivity. Two is about encouraging farmers to adopt good agricultural practices. And three is about mitigation. I'm sure you have heard so much about it when you are listening to the COP27 in Egypt. Quick view of our activity highlights. In the area of improving business practices, we are working with one company, of course you know the Okomu, and we are piloting the agro scheme, and this we are doing with two-scale and TA commodities. They are up here this morning, and through that you can see that we have mobilized over 10,000 farmers, and today, by this fourth quarter, 500 metric tons of FAB is being supplied to 2,000 to Okomu for processing. This is something that has not happened before. Today, farmers are keen into that, sending the FAB and deriving good benefit from it. And one of the things we are also doing, which is we have had today, is diversification. These farmers are driving additional income from beekeeping and from goat rearing. So we have introduced beekeeping and goat rearing to these farmers as a way of improving their income as well as adapting to climate challenges. And one area I want to leave this one about field level sustainability. We have worked with NIFOR to produce a manual that is under being printed right now for the first time, that will be used by farmers for that improve their yield and all whatnot. We have also worked with another company, NGO, that is looking at providing farmers with climate smart information services. All these are happening within your states, Your Excellency, Okomu. And we're also providing services to farmers, and this is being done through DA commodities. And gender is part of it. You can see that most of our solidarity through which we want to reach more women farmers or whatnot, we did some gender analysis that has really brought women into the mainstream. Strengthening sector governance, this is an interesting area. In the state here, of course, we at the national level, we work with the solidarity at the national level. We have a platform through which we exchange ideas and exchange visits. At the state level, we have an MSP. I'm glad to tell you, last time here, you listened to one professor, Ngozi, she's there. Ngozi, can you stand up, please? Yeah, she's done an excellent job here. She has a brief. She wants to launch policy brief and policy brief. They have produced here within the state. They want to also launch today. That's part of the brief. You can see that this was on access to finance, and this is something that will come out of this state. To do our own coordination and coordinating efforts. Improving the sector governance. Remember, we launched the Green Growth Plan here in the state through these MSP processes here. And we set up a small committee to really organize how handle this green growth plan. We said, okay, let's pilot this in Okomu landscape. In Okomu landscape, the green growth plan has 3 pillars: production pillar, protection pillar, and inclusion pillar. This landscape approach, you are looking at several commodities, several sectors, and today you have seen it. Agri says A, environment they say B. So there are several actors, you have communities. But how do you work with these several actors together? We need to create a space for them to interact, debate, as has been going on since morning, Your Excellency. Very exciting participation you have. So this platform we're about to launch today. It's a platform that will allow all actors to make use of collective wisdom. And it's also for you, if you are meeting a donor, you say, look, I have in place a mechanism that will enable any person to come in and plug in whatever he wants to plug into the state. And that's important for you to attract that funding from all the other donors. So it's a good achievement. So today, we are now coming to a place that all the actors within the Okomu landscape have been identified. There was a study done within the state that in fact all of them, 41 communities, they are here today, including their traditional leaders. They are all here today. 41 communities, Your Excellency, they are here today. Companies, Okomu, they are here today. Rubber institutes, they are all here today. And what we're saying is that through this platform, if we all agree, then we should be able to have a space to interact, debate, and agree on solutions. But there has to be some planning. And that planning that has been done that will guide them is the green growth plan that you already have. But there has to be a way to implement this plan. The platform. So we believe that today, an implementation committee will be set up that will be under the chairmanship of the first commission today. And then we all agree how this committee will work out an MOU that all of us here, all actors here will all sign to. And that becomes the beginning of the process. As I told them here today, that the whole thing is starting today. It's a long journey. It's a process issue. All issues, all debates here will be discussed over time.
Between August 2021 and November 2021, we had a preliminary study on the challenges and opportunities of smallholder farmers in oil production in every state. It was after that preliminary study that we had a planning workshop. And based on the preliminary study, we had 4 things that emerged. The things are land ownership, access to finance, deforestation, and policy and governance issues. So we unpacked those issues. Part of the agreements at the planning workshop was actually that any outcome that comes from unpacking those issues have to align with the strategic objectives of the Green Growth Plan, which I'm sure we have done, and I'm sure you'll be able to make your judgment after you have seen the policy briefs. So we had policy briefs that were produced between this time and May 2022. Policy briefs and advocacy briefs, actually. So we have 2 policy briefs and 2 advocacy briefs based on these things that I have told you, I just mentioned. So in May 2022, we had a validation workshop to validate the findings that we had in these briefs. And the workshop was not just validated by members of the platform, it was further validated on the field by smallholders in Okomu, and this validation was done in August. Now, before I present this brief to you, it's important for me to highlight some of the things that we discovered and some of the policy considerations that we preferred. One of them, on the law, policy, and governance issue, was that it's one thing for people to be aware of laws, and it's another thing for them to be able to access the laws. Now, first of all, there's a fundamental problem with the awareness of the laws itself, because you're wondering how can a smallholder farmer know what the Land Use Act says to protect him or expects of him, what the Environmental Impact Assessment says, what the National Act says, and so on and so forth. Now, in events that they have some kind of knowledge, when they access these laws. So one of the solutions governors and the platform agreed was to have a one-stop desk in, proposing the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, for instance. And the desk officer, in quotes, would be an officer or someone seconded from the Ministry of Justice. Now, we did not stop there. That means we're not going to give the entire responsibility to that desk officer. So what we have done is to have a compendium of laws and policies that are relevant to smallholder oil production in every state. So this is an entry point that we have decided to use. Now, without going into too much detail, I'll just present to you the briefs that we have, 3 out of 4 of the briefs that we have, just for you to see the kind of progress that we have made.
This is important for us in Edo because, you know, as a governor, I have always advocated that the time has come for us to diversify our economy. I'm one of those governors, as you know, from way back, because of my background, I've been saying we cannot continue this way. We can't continue to rely on crude oil to grow our economy anymore. We have to go back to some of the endowments which God has given us. And we in Edo State are particularly blessed with several endowments, which many people in this country or in our continent don't have. So the first reason why the Edo State government continues to support and work with partners like IDH is because we are very, very keen on making sure that our economy as a state is diversified and we don't have to rely mainly on the federal government to give us money every month from sale of crude oil before we can survive as a state. The other reason why we're here is also to let you know, particularly the communities around the Okomu Reserve, Forest Reserve, that you are in a very unique area or part of the world. That Okomu Reserve is very, very unique, and it is something that as a people, as a state, we must protect and preserve, because there are not many like that ecology left in the world, definitely not in Nigeria. And in these days where the issues relating to the environment has become quite topical, one of the biggest issues affecting mankind today is the environment. So if you need anything to convince you that the environment has changed, the world is changing, you can see evidence every day. But the implication is quite threatening. So even our whole food production cycle is being affected. The last issue why I'm here is to talk about livelihoods. You know, our people never used to be poor. They never. Because even as a child growing up, I remember my great-grandmother at that time would come and give us money at Christmas time. One of the reasons we used to look forward towards Christmas is that Mama would come from Ora, where she used to grow cocoa and coffee, and the commodity boss will come and buy from her, and then we know that at least she'll come, and each of us will get at least £1 at that time. So the local communities were sustainable because there was livelihoods to sustain our people. But today, we cannot say that is the case anymore. Partly because we as a government are not investing in those communities, and partly because today it's all about crude oil. Everybody wants to come to the city, do contracts, make big money, buy big cars, and live big, and not work concerned about how money will come on a sustainable basis. So I'm very delighted to be here with you today on this workshop on the Okomu Landscape Management Initiative. As you have experienced, this workshop is an opportunity for all of you, about 40 or so communities and stakeholders around the Okomu Reserve to come and brainstorm on how we can manage the Okomu landscape, which includes forest protection and regeneration, with an aim to preserve the unique natural environment which God has given us in that area, while enhancing the livelihoods of those people who depend on the forests. So Okomu is very precious and rare because it's a lowland forest and the last habitat for many endangered species, such as the white-throated monkey. This unique ecosystem was once the home of several rare species like chimpanzees, the yellow hornbill, elephants, amongst others. But not only the animals and the life, that is sustained, but also the flora in that area. However, this valuable ecosystem is currently being degraded at an alarming rate, like I said, through unsustained exploitation, particularly illegal logging, unsupervised farming, and unregulated hunting activities, which have resulted in the decline of its biodiversity. To reverse this disturbing trend of biodiversity loss, there is therefore an urgent need to employ diverse measures to effectively manage human activities within the Okomu landscape. That is the principal reason why we called all of you here. And there are several measures that are being taken, but these measures must include ensuring that forest and wildlife resources are protected, conserved, and harnessed sustainably in spite of the economic demands for these natural resources. We have to promote the sustainable cultivation of cash and subsistence crops in these areas. That is why IDH have been going through and working with you on how to help small farmers, how to make sure that they can get financing, how to make sure that their goods have access to the markets so that they do not go and support the activities of illegal loggers and people who are destroying that environment. As a government, what is our role? We as government have now realized that there's many things government cannot do or can no longer do. Government now wants to focus on the things it can do. There are things our partners are better at doing. There are things the communities are better at doing. Let us partner with the communities and other partners so that government can focus on what it can do best. Our responsibility is to regulate, to create an environment, a sustainable environment for you people, for citizens to live their lives to their fullest by making sure that there are laws, that there's order, that there's security. Government is not a farmer. Government, even when it tries to farm, is not a good farmer. So government should not farm. The other responsibility is we are in power, we are in government because of you. Therefore, we owe it to you to provide you a better life. And to provide a better life, we must understand what is affecting you. We must understand what you need to do to feed, to take care of your families, and look for ways and means to support you to do so. Dashing you money is not the solution. Helping you sustain what you're doing is the way to go. And that is what our government is about. Those who criticize us, who say terrible things about us, are angry that we don't want to go that way they used to go anymore. To just bring the money, share it, and everybody goes home. First, we don't have much money to share again. And that money that we used to share meant that we didn't build roads, we didn't do the things we were supposed to do for you. Now we're using that money to do what we're supposed to do for you. Those who used to benefit from it are angry. We can't help them. We just continue to pray for them. Today's workshop is another step in the right direction to ensuring that the state's forest resources are protected, that commercial and food crops are grown sustainably, and that the livelihoods of the Okomu forest-dependent communities are improved. It's a commitment I want to make to you today that the government of Edo State views this as priority. And whatever we do here, whatever lessons, whatever experiences we gain from this interaction with you, we're going to take those experiences to other communities and other parts of the state in which we have experiencing similar problems.
Thank you so much also.